Hello and welcome back to my channel. What is to follow is a random, not so random video that I just took sporadically. So it's not indoors, it wasn't written down, it's not planned, but it's just I wanted to share part of my heart with you and something that I had been studying. And anyway, I hope you enjoy it. It is a little sporadic. I actually do have studio space. Oh, and apparently a bug in the eye. And I'm outdoors, I'm outside my yard right now. It's just such a beautiful day. So just enjoy the video. Like, share, subscribe. If the story and the message wasn't for you, then maybe pass it on to somebody who you think it might be helpful for. And just forgive the randomness of it because it was completely unplanned, but still worth listening to. Hey everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a hot minute since I started this channel. I need to be a little more consistent, but isn't it ironic when you go to start out doing something good that the devil likes to kick you in the teeth? It kind of happens like that. So, how many of you like to travel? I love to travel. I don't get to do it very often, but I like to get away and do what I call daycations, kind of just run off. I would actually be sitting outside right now, but it's really windy out there, and I fear that you would not be able to hear me. So I thought I'd escape for a couple hours. But the reason I ask if you like to travel is, you know, when you go to plan to go someplace and you get on the airplane and you're sitting in and the pilot comes on and says everybody put their seatbelts on when the light comes on, and then you can take it off and the light goes off, and they go down this little spiel that they have. There are some hilarious stewardesses out there, by the way. You can find a bunch of them on YouTube. They give that little spiel in such a funny way that, you know, you just end up laughing. But they do say one thing really important through all that. You know how they say if you can't breathe, you know, you can't help someone. So they say oxygen will drop down from the ceiling, and make sure you secure that mask to yourself before you secure it to the person that you have to help, or your child that's sitting next to you if you have someone with you. One stewardess says, well, pick your favorite child that has the most potential and put the mask on them. But the point of it is that when you can't breathe, if you are literally suffocating and you are at a point where you have to self-care, you have to take care of you before you take care of everyone else, you have to take that oxygen mask, figuratively or literally, put it on your own face before you can help someone else. And sometimes we get to the place where we need our oxygen mask, we need to stop because we are burning out and running on zero energy, zero love, zero everything. And if we don't pick ourselves back up, we're no good to someone else. So I want to tell you a little bit about this past, Sunday to Monday. I went camping on my first camping trip by myself. I went car camping because I had heard that it was just a lot of fun, and because I'm a woman in the woods and I was alone, it was probably just safer to be inside my vehicle, which, as you can see, some of my camp stuff is still in the car. I have to finish cleaning it out. But it was a lot of fun. I had a really good time. But the purpose of that trip was that I had hit empty. I had hit crash. And if I did not get alone and get away, I was going to start to not be able to cope anymore. And I've been going through something, and I don't want to get into it. But needless to say, I'm not the first person that's gone through it, and I won't be the last. Anybody that has read Luke 15, it's a pretty common story in several families. So I went on that trip just to commune with God and to spend time by myself and put the mask on myself, to put the oxygen on myself so that I could help anyone else in my family and anybody else in general. Sometimes you have to stop. And I had come to a point where I had to stop. I needed to stop everything, all the busy work, all the social, everything. Just stop. You have to stop. So while I was out there, I did all the things. I lit the fire and ate the hot dogs and, well, burnt the hot dog. And I did all those things that are just a lot of fun to do. I went for hikes on the beach and I did all the things and I just prayed a lot. I prayed so much. I think I just prayed the whole time I was out there. And then it got really dark. So I crawled into my little bed that I made in the car. I have a portable DVD player that charges. So I watched a movie, well, part of a movie, and I fell asleep, got up the next morning, made my coffee, made my breakfast. It was really nice. I mean, I had a little trouble with the fire, but it was just to do these things and to get up and see God in all its nature. I actually made a video about it. I'll link it somewhere in here, or below. Sorry, I suck at this. Can you tell? But I do have another channel and like I said, I'll link that. But, I got up and then after I had my coffee, I came back to my car. I sat right where I'm sitting right now, and I had made a video about my Bible study that morning. It was just a short thing because it hit me like a ton of bricks because I was running on empty. So I'm going to go ahead and share that here, since this is a totally different channel and I really want to just gear this one towards God and ministry. It's about the woman who was about to lose both of her sons, and a miracle that had occurred. And it's about faith and pouring out from nothing. And if I had to take a lesson away from my camping trip, it was learning that sometimes you have to pour out from nothing and have faith that God's going to carry you through. And I love this story, and I just about started bawling my head off at camp over it because it hit me so hard. Anyway, hang on. Ow. Poke myself in the eye while I'm at it. These are not my normal glasses. I can't find my normal glasses, but I want to read this to you. We are in 2 Kings 4, and this woman talks to Elisha. Says, the wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elisha, your servant, my husband, is dead, and you know that he revered the Lord. But now his creditor is coming to take my 2 boys as his slaves. That wasn't very... They did things so different back then that, if you didn't pay your debt, they'd take your kids and turn them into servants. Indentured servitude? I'm not sure what that would be called. She says, Elisha replied to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? Your servant has nothing there at all, she said, except a little oil. Elisha said, go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars, and don't just ask for a few. And then go inside and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour oil into all the jars, and as each is filled, put it to one side. She left him, and afterward shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all the jars were full, she said to her son, bring me another one. But he replied, there is not a jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. When she went out and told the man of God, and he said, go and sell the oil to pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left. Okay, this woman, I think that she probably at first thought, okay, we have this little tiny bit of oil, probably in whatever jar she had. It probably wasn't very big, but it wasn't enough. And so Elisha tells her basically to have a lot of faith in God and go collect jars, not just a few jars. She had to collect a lot of jars. I mean, think about it. If Elisha told her, okay, you've poured all this oil from nothing into all of these vessels, all these jars, and you had enough debt that you were going to lose your kids, but you're telling this widow woman that she has to sell the oil and live on what is left. So what that tells me is that out of that little bit, she had to have collected an incredible amount of jars, like all of them she could get her hands on, and just go door to door and say, hey, can I have every jar you have left over? So for her to be able to live on what is left, that is an amazing story, and it's an amazing miracle. But the point of the story is that she had the faith to do it. She had nothing left. She had just about lost her kids. And Elisha says, okay, just shut the door, take that little bit of oil, and just keep pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. And she poured and she poured. She filled every jar that was left. Every jar that was left. And while the jars were being filled, what part of her was being filled? See, God refers to us as vessels ourselves. And while God may have provided the miracle of that never ending jar of oil being poured into all these other jars until her son says, okay, mom, there's no more jars to give you, sorry. And then the oil suddenly stopped. But God gave to her overflowing so that she may have something left to live on and that she got to keep her sons. So how much more, if God cares about the oil and God cares about her and God cares about providing and giving even emotionally, God knows we love our kids. So when we hit that point where we have nothing left, why don't we say, God, pour out on me? Why don't we say, God, I have nothing left. You need to supernaturally give me more. And you have to have the faith that says, I believe that this bottle is going to pour. In our case, we believe that the Holy Spirit is going to pour on us. And we have to just accept and have it on faith that no matter what we're going through, God's got a plan. See, there's this this phrase that someone once told me. They said, if you're walking through hell, keep walking, because Jesus is walking right beside you. And it's just, to me, it's a miraculous thing that she had the faith. She went inside. She did exactly what she was told. And there must have been a part of her that just was like, well, this sounds really silly, or I really don't want to go knock on doors. Who wants to go knock on their neighbor's doors and ask for every jar that they have? But she did it. She had the faith, even if she did feel silly, and she went out and she did it. Well, I was thinking about that, and it hit me so hard because I realized I had hit empty. I realized I was starting to get mad at God. That wasn't a nice thing to do. I'll admit, I got really angry over my situation because I've been praying for this situation for 10 months. I have been praying and praying and praying. I'm like, God, why are you not hearing me? Well, God does hear us. God is pouring out. But I think that God takes these situations, our running out of oil, our creditors coming to steal our sons, to teach us lessons that when the earth can't give it, when our worldly environment can't give it, God can. When we can't solve it in the natural, God can solve it in the supernatural. And so for me, just to know that I can keep going, I can pour out from nothing. And in the end, really, what is being a mom? What is being a dad? Parents pour out from nothing all the time. And whether or not our kids understand that that's what we're doing, when they become parents, they finally get it. When I was a kid, I used to hate it when my parents would say, oh, well, I'm older and smarter and you'll do as I say. Or if, when you get older, you'll understand. That was another one. When you get older, you'll understand. I couldn't stand that. That drove me crazy. Or my personal favorite, because I said so, that's why. And you don't understand that your parents are saying that because, well, they've been through a whole lot more. They've got a lot more wisdom. And when your parents tell you don't do something, or to do something, or your loved one tells you even as an adult, that's really dumb, you shouldn't do it. Maybe it's because they've been there, they've done that, they've been through it, they've learned the lesson, and they're trying to keep you from learning a really hard lesson. Maybe it's because they've spent maybe a lifetime of pouring out miraculously from empty, and maybe they don't want you to have to go through pouring out from empty. But sometimes God has us pour out from empty to teach us to have faith in Him. We need to have faith in Him. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this off because apparently my battery is telling me that it's about to die. But the whole point of this, I just wanted to share that, through everything that I've been through, and I know that you guys have probably, some of you, maybe been through a whole lot more, continue to pour out from empty and just know that God is going to keep that little bit flowing, Well, thank you for stopping by my channel. It would appear, if you look carefully here, I have company. So I just wanted to say I'm sorry about the battery dying. And if you'll just issue me a little bit of grace and mercy, the point of this channel is to share the Word of God with you and to share my heart with you and build some bonds and friendships. And hopefully it will be helpful. I kind of have to keep my eye on this girl. because she is clearly aware that I'm here. So I just wanted to say thank you and say hi to the moose.